what we did, notes that we did.
Okay.
So obviously the first thing, swapped out the filter, added in the water exchange, so that's all automatic. That comes on currently just once a day for 30 minutes, and that's all you need to discharge 10% of the water. We'll get the new timer and get that, figure out installing that. Your UV unit, we replaced the UV lamp sleeve and O-rings for it, so it's all brand new stuff inside. You had, I don't know why it was set up like this. So I replaced one of the strain release because I had one. Next year I'll replace the other one, and then you won't have this tape. That's how, for whatever reason. The other thing I did was add an actual drain mount to your unit. None of this really matters for you guys. This is just so it's a lot easier to service. Because how it was set up before is that, like so it's the UV lamp and that sits inside of the quart sleeve. In order to remove those, it's all under pressure even if it's isolated. You basically have to take it out and the water just starts gushing everywhere. So I just put in that valve. It never needs to be open for you guys. It should always be closed. But just so you know, like, oh, what's this? It's just
which one is that?
this one right here.
Okay.
So it should always be closed
So
unless you had to drain down this
That's the one we should label "Do Not Touch."
Yeah, exactly. And I guess same with this. This is your water exchange source, so it should always be open. That's closed, you're not going to discharge anything.
Right, and so again, when it's closed, it would be
Oh, it looked like this. Sorry.
yeah, right. So
Perpendicular.
right, perpendicular, and then parallel is open. Okay.
Yep. There's a cracked end cap on the UV unit. It wasn't leaking before. I glued it back together, and it's still not leaking, but we'll replace it next year because it's going to crack. It's just something to keep. The other two seem fine, but it's just the rear one.
And so,
With glue all over it. I think it's this one right here.
Oh, okay.
So you can see, I just repaired it with glue
right.
for now.
And if water suddenly starts gushing from there, we have a problem.
You can bypass your full UV unit from the system.
With that, no.
With this.
Okay.
So this is your UV bypass. This is the in, and that's the out. So
Okay.
if you had to bypass this unit, you would just open this and close those two valves.
So say that again. We would
You
open
would
that.
open this one
Okay.
and then close this. This is the in valve, and then close the out valve.
If we had to bypass the
The
UV
UV.
system for
Yep.
some reason. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Your heater. Yeah, so your heater has holes in it, and so it's probably been like this for quite a while, sending electricity into the system and stuff like that, so I found out pretty quick. So I have it off, it's unwired from the system.
Which is why it has that label on
It
it.
has that, even if you turn the on button, it's totally disconnected from that relay box, because it is sending 200 volts into the water. So I already reached out to our vendor about an identical replacement for that heater.
Okay.
So I'll follow up with that.
Great.
So far it's been keeping at temperature. It really has not, it hasn't changed, which is good. So, I mean, your rooms are really warm. So,
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, we've got the ambient temperature going, and if that's enough to keep
and really
us
that
going.
heater's on there whenever you have a failure, or probably, I'm sure you have HVAC changes during the season and
Yep,
stuff like
and
that.
and that's a great unknown as we move towards geothermal.
Yeah.
Although honestly, I've never noticed a difference in heater, whether we're on winter steam or chilled water.
Yeah.
Like it-
So you
Yeah.
should be good for the time being, but I'll still follow up with a replacement.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
then-
if it's something that we're supposed to have in the system,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
should do that. Yeah.
So it's still there. I've left it there, but it's totally disconnected from your system. It's not wired in. The wires are just, there's still power going to it, but these are the wires from the home. So
Got it. Okay.
they're off. But just keep an eye on your temperature. I know you do it anyways, but just keep that in mind.
Yeah, totally. If we had some kind of, what would we do? I mean, like space heaters or?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean,
You can
not
get,
great with all the water that's involved, but
and
yeah.
you can
okay.
get, the small little aquarium heaters for like 500 watts, which is just not enough.
Yeah.
You can get a bunch of them and put them in all the sumps, and you just have a bunch of heaters everywhere.
Yeah,
It's a very temporary solution.
Yeah.
In need of an emergency.
Yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as coming out of this service, that's the main thing.
Okay.
The other items we did, so we replaced everything on the UV, replaced the pH electrode, calibrated both probes.
Right,
so
we had
that's all
talked
set.
about that. All right.
Yeah.
So the pH probe is what's reporting to the monitoring
Yeah,
system.
so on your, so
Okay.
you have your conductivity sensor and your pH sensor. The pH has an electrode that is a consumable. It's just like your UV lamps, they just deteriorate over time.
Right.
It gets replaced every year. So I know that was overdue, and I know Karen had mentioned that.
Right,
But all
okay,
that-
so that's something that's part of our annual maintenance.
Part of replacing it,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
Recalibrating it is on, because you guys recalibrate it.
We have in the past.
Okay. Do you
I'm
want
not
me to go
sure-
over that?
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So we recommend doing it once a month,
Once a month.
and that's pin straight. It's just to stay on top of it. Like I said, your pH electrode, there's two things. It deteriorates, and both sensors accumulate waste sitting in the sump, and all that interferes with its actual heating. So you just take it out, you clean it once a month, calibrate it, and then make sure it's reading correctly on the screen. So we can go over that. Make sure to do that. So you guys, like I said, once a month, this is what you want to do to stay on top of it. We'll replace it, we'll recalibrate it, so that's just once a year.
Right.
The other items on the unit, we just redid your connectivity solutions. It's all new tubing and stuff like that as well going to the sump. The other items that we do is just check safety checks and stuff like that on the system. So like make sure it shuts down with low water and all that stuff. So all that stuff works. It seems like everything is communicating. There's not a whole lot of electrical boxes and stuff like that, but everything seems to be working correctly.
And so we don't really ever have to touch those.
You're gonna fill them up.
Yeah, we fill these regularly.
Okay, so what do you fill them with?
It's just we use RO water and then we add either salt or bicarb.
Depending on what you need to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
so
so
you have
once-
you have
once
an
time.
established
Yeah,
routine
yeah,
for that.
we fill them at least once a week.
Okay.
It should be a lot less.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, because it's
Oh, yeah, because it was eating all that water, so.
Right, which
Awesome.
it's a
Always
lot,
is
so
gonna
I would
cause
be
an
surprised
imbalance.
if you're filling that up once every 2 months.
Oh, wow.
amazing.
That's huge. Yeah, great. Awesome.
FBB looks fine. We checked that out.
Can you say that again?
The FBB looks fine. So that's just your
What's the app?
biofilter,
Okay.
fluidized bead bed is what
Okay.
engineering calls it. That's their biofilter. So that's what's, the bacteria is living on there, taking ammonia, converting it to nitrite, converting it to nitrate. So the biggest thing is making sure it's always moving. It's just a bunch of sand. When it stops moving, it's just a bunch of sand. So as long as you have pressure up there, I would probably suggest checking it maybe
Okay,
once a week.
and so that's the gauge that's really hard to see up there,
And it's broken.
and it's broken.
So
Okay.
I made note of that. We'll replace it next year or whenever we're here next time.
Okay, so in absence of that gauge working, how do we know things are moving?
You need that big ladder
Yeah,
to basically
and
look
you
up
can-
top.
Oh, okay.
Look under.
So you actually can see
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
Or you can shine your flashlight in here and
Yeah, you can angle it
sometimes
in there.
you can see
Okay.
some
You just
movement.
want to
Okay.
make sure it's moving.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Great.
Just make sure your RO tank works. It's just gravity fed, so there's not much. I didn't do anything with the RO unit or anything like that. Just like you guys are but it works. It turns on when it's supposed to. I tested that functionality.
Okay.
The way that RO tank feeds, it's just all gravity fed, so there's no pump or anything like that. It just feeds out anything where that bottom valve is how it feeds the whole system. Other minor things is just clean the sumps and all that other stuff, so all that should be good. The quarantine system, there's not too much to go over. Same thing, we replaced the UV lamp and sleeve on there, so that's all good. There's no controls or any functionality. It's running. We cleaned it. The water quality all looks good. So nothing to really note with that system. We didn't change the filters. Karen says we need to buy more, so that's the only thing with that one.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
because
she
that's
said
got
she
its
had-
own independent filters
Yeah.
then.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
Which we now have the filters for that thing, so
I know she wanted to know, she wasn't sure what kind of filter to buy.
Yeah.
So.
yeah, it's very specific. It's not a
It's not a, yeah,
Yeah.
It's like a.
not something
it's a custom filter.
you don't go to Home Depot for
No,
that.
Yeah.
we have to take it and like cut it in order to
Okay.
actually have, yeah.
Okay.
So I guess one of the follow-ups that we're gonna need to do is a consumables order.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that we
yeah,
have
yeah.
filters for that, and then how often do we have to change? How often
Okay.
do we have to change the quarantine filters? It just depends on how much quarantining you do,
Yeah.
right?
Probably not often.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's only like 4 tanks on it right now, so we kind of monitor the water quality and the color of the filter on the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, with like a normal amount of animals, like once a month.
And we're only quarantining for genetics, right? Basically. Right, okay.
The eggs have not been bleached yet,
Okay.
so no bleached eggs will develop the babies.
Okay.
But now those don't get changed before the quarter.
So once a quarter, the quarantine filters get changed. Okay.
More infrequent. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of animals on there.
Yeah,
so-
exactly.
Yep,
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
We were just talking about that.
What's that?
No, Daniel Lab did not replace the heater, and it's bad. So it's disconnected right now, and that's going to be another service call once you have to source something.
Yeah, I already reached out to our vendor about an identical replacement, so I'm just waiting to get a lead time from them. So I'm sure I'll hear back later today. I know with them, I sent it to them last night, so
Yeah,
I'll
right.
probably have something, and we can come back and we can replace the heater as well as the electrical, a new cord. Make sure it's all brand new, basically.
Right,
So we can
right.
come and do that. Even ancillary stuff if you want us to come back. and
Oh, yeah,
replace
yeah.
the
I mean,
heater.
we can
we can
just-
swap out the gauge, put this in, do whatever else.
Yeah. If we can combine a couple of things at once,
Yes.
that would make
Yep,
sense. But yeah,
absolutely.
once you're able to source that and the timer
Yep.
for this solenoid that controls
Yeah,
the
this I'm
backwash.
just waiting on. It's just
Yep.
whatever.
Yeah.
It's just not it.
Understood.
Yeah. You're not using this anymore. The RO is still dumping into it, but you can still leave it be because basically the RO, every time the RO makes water, it discharges water. It just goes down the drain.
So that's just the discharge from the RO. Yeah.
So if Michael reuses this,
I kind of want to write an
this tube is just going to go down the drain.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say, yeah, there's no reason to move it until we have another purpose for it.
So this is, now it's just the discharge. I'm pretty sure that's what this is. What's this?